Hi, welcome to my, I almost said stream, but this is a video. Hi, this is a lore video. So, I get a lot of questions of hey, what does it mean to be an 8th-dimensional creature, or entity, or slime? Why are you an 8th-dimensional slime? Why couldn't you be a regular slime? The thing is, I'm not actually a slime. I'm sorry, I lied to y'all. One side of me is a slime. This is just how you can perceive me right now, and we'll get to that. Nah, you guys are too much. I was gonna release this in a video, but you're gonna get. For context, Ominous Neko kept telling me how the 8th dimension works. It irritated me to the point where I had to basically stop the stream and, go on a rant on my lore. And, I really hope that I have future streams like this. Alright, back to the video. An early draft. This is a new stream. It was an Apex stream, but it's no longer an Apex stream. Why? Because, I don't know, I got irritated. We're gonna be talking about how wait, no, I think I need different music for this. Give me a sec. What am I and who am I? Okay, that's probably the question you're asking yourself. What am I? Who am I? Well, first, I don't know. I don't remember. I have amnesia. We're gonna watch this at ×2. No, this is the first dimension, and this right here, second dimension. The first dimension doesn't have any width or depth. It's just a line. So if you draw a line across a piece of paper, that's just the first dimension, okay? If you draw a line up or to the side, it doesn't matter. It just continues infinitely. That's just the first dimension. The 0th dimension is just 0, just a point, just a dot. Blame amnesia for the confusion of dimensions. I'm not confused. Basically going through the second dimensions every time, in theory, every time you are walking or moving around your room or doing anything, you are moving through the second dimension. You're basically teleporting around that dimension because you're walking around the third dimension. You are literally just a fucking shadow of a 4th dimensional being. And you know what that 4th dimensional being is? That's a worm. You're a worm. All of you are worms. I love y'all. Thank you for supporting me. Now that we know, let's summarize it. Okay, because I talked to you from the 1st to the 4th. The 1st dimension is just a line. The 0 dimension is just a dot. So I'm not even going to focus on that. The 2nd dimension is a square. The 3rd dimension is basically where you exist. And what a tesseract is, a cube going from small to big. So it's basically the passage of time. So now, let's get to the 5th dimension. Shut up, Christian. So, the 5th dimension is affected by change of potential and choices and possibilities. So the best way to imagine the 5th dimension is that every choice you make will create a new branch from your 4th dimensional point of view, your personal timeline, and it becomes a world of its own, which would continue to expand as that new version of you would also make individual choices. Every single time a possibility can happen, it will happen, and it will stretch the 4th dimension into a 5th dimensional branch. And that's just, think of it like a tree with roots, infinite roots. That's what this 5th dimension is. Every single time you choose to do something, another version of you in a different timeline will have different variables that will make them choose something else. And whatever is possible for you to do at that moment will be played out in the infinite possibilities that is the 5th dimension. If we could move along the 5th dimension, we'll be able to teleport across physical space and time. Yes, you could technically teleport through different parts in the 4th dimension if you're in the 5th dimension. Okay, think of time as the 1st dimension, so it's just a line, and think of the 5th dimension as the 2nd dimension. You can make those comparisons because the dimensions just kind of repeat. They just get bigger. They just involve time and different variables. That's what it is. So a good example is if you guys decide to have a cup of coffee, right? In this dimension, in the other dimension, you don't drink that cup of coffee. In another timeline in the 5th dimension, you grab the coffee and throw it. In the other one, you stab the guy. You know, any possibility that can happen will happen in the 5th dimension. It will continuously spread until everything plays out. Like, it doesn't have to be a conscious choice. If we're talking about the infinity that is our universe, or your universe to be more exact, it can happen with anything. Like inanimate objects. If a variable can be changed and can be moved, it will change and move, and it will play out in the 5th dimension. Easiest way you can think about it is, have you guys heard of quantum immortality? That is the best explanation for the 5th dimension that I've ever heard. That is quantum immortality. Is this the plot of the new Doctor Strange movie? No, but the new Doctor Strange movie did the 5th dimension perfectly. Here, let me give you a little bit of a diagram that I created. It might be a little bit complicated at first, but you'll understand once I break it down. So we're gonna focus on here right now. You are currently here. This is the 3rd dimension. Around you is the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension you experience as time. You basically are a shadow of your fourth dimensional counterpart. That fourth dimension is a shadow of your fifth dimensional counterparts. And everything folds in the sixth dimension. Like, we think about it like the second dimension and the third dimension. If you were a 2D creature, you could basically teleport if you move through the third dimension. That's technically what the sixth dimensional is. If time and infinity had depth, that would be this. Any choice you make spreads that fourth dimension into a new fifth dimensional world. And that fifth dimensional world has its own fourth dimension and its own third dimension and so on. That's why it has the little tiny lines that you see here. This is basically where my shadow lives. This is the guy that sets up my streams and the guy that sets up all of my editing software. He lives here with you, stupid guys. I live all the way up here. All right, we're getting to the sixth dimension now. So if the fifth dimension is just a bunch of parallel universes made from the choices and variables that are possible to be played out in the infinity of the universe that you call your home, the sixth dimension is like the third dimension of time. How you can go up, down, forwards, backwards, left, and right. If you could inhabit the sixth dimension, you could move in every direction when it comes to time and timelines. In other words, you could travel to parallel universe like you walk to the store. But won't moving backwards cause issues? Not really. People think that time traveling will fuck things up. It really doesn't. Unless it's a fixed point. Yeah, if it's a fixed point, then yeah. But if not, it'll just play out through the universe. Whatever variables can happen will happen. So it will not destroy the timeline. It will just create a shit ton of new ones. It's annoying to sort through, but you'll just be making a hard time for time lords. That's all you'll be doing. You basically make more driveways whenever you like traveling through time. What about the butterfly effect? The butterfly effect is just the fifth dimensional timeline crushing onto another fifth dimensional timeline because some dumb fuck doesn't know how to properly time travel. If you are able to travel back to the same original timeline you're in and change a variable, and instead of creating a new timeline, you change your own timeline, you have fucked up, and those two timelines will completely get destroyed. That's what the butterfly effect is. It will completely destroy two different realities. So if you wanted to go from one timeline to another timeline, depending on how different the variables are, you would have to walk further. So let's say you want to travel from one timeline where you choose glasses. You're choosing between two glasses. Red glasses, blue glasses. Those timelines would be incredibly close because all the variables would be incredibly parallel and incredibly similar. So you wouldn't have to walk that far in the timelines in the sixth dimension to get from where you chose the red glasses between the blue glasses. But let's say you want to go to a timeline where you have blue skin and you're also choosing between glasses. You have to walk a longer distance in the sixth dimension. So because I'm in the eighth dimension, I'm incredibly large. And right now, the way that I sit to look at the stream, you see me as a slime. This guy explains it really well, so I kind of have his TikTok.
You have a shadow and it's flat, 2 dimensions, but your body is 3 dimensional. What if your body in 3 dimensions is a shadow of a 4th dimensional creature?
You see this man? This man is a genius because he explained it incredibly well. So you're a 3D creature with a 2-dimensional shadow. The same applies to you in higher dimensional. You are a shadow of a 4th dimensional creature, and that 4th dimensional creature is a shadow of that 5th dimensional creature, and so on. Shadows. Okay, first dimensional line has a 0-dimension shadow. 2-dimensional thing has a 1-dimensional shadow. 3-dimensional thing has a 2nd-dimensional shadow. And this is a representation. Obviously, it's not the accurate one, but this 4th-dimensional tesseract has a 3-dimensional shadow, which was basically a cube spread out. There are different versions of you. We talked about the 5th dimension that has multiple versions of you, an infinite amount of variables. Once you get to the 6th dimension, there's even more variables. So because I'm an 8-dimensional entity, I need to upload to nearly an infinite dimensions and timelines. You know, I'm from the 8th dimension, so I have to find the timelines that are curated with the proper variables that I'm able to upload in, that even have streaming, because some timelines are just goop or paint or just endless void. So you can't stream to no one. So I'm gonna show you different sides of me, or my shadows. This is what if I were to move in a different angle, you guys would see me change. Yes, I would. This is where I look like in some 3rd dimension and in some 5th dimensions. This is like one of my forms. This is another one of my forms. This right here is another different attempt. That's a little streaming box. This is another version of myself that helps me stream in his own personal dimension where everything is black. He basically lives in the void, but they still got streaming in the void. void, surprisingly, that 5th dimension. So this little box right here, he helps me stream. If you're curious about this language, that is the language that I use to communicate with my own shadows. This is also another version of me. As you can see, they all have similarities to me. You can kind of see the similarities. We got the core, we got the empty eyes, you know, we have the many sides. You can tell that it's me. You know the feel. All right. This is also another version of me, and all of these guys love to stream. This is the dimensions that are furthest away from you guys. You guys, I believe you guys are in the 3rd dimension, and I forgot the number. 616? No, wait, that's marble. Yeah, you guys are basically the furthest away from these guys. These versions of myself, you might never meet because I could barely draw them in because they're incomprehensible where you come from. Now let's get to the probably the faces you might see in your dimension, which is this version of me. If anybody knows what the meaning of Toki in Korean is, you'll understand the reference. This is another version of me. This is another version of me. That's one of the versions that is closely related to me. This is another version of me. This is just me. I don't know why I added the image because you can see me right now. This is a humanoid version of me. I added some humanoid versions so that you guys could kind of get an idea of what I would look like if I was a 3D creature in your universe, you know, as a slime. These are all different versions of me throughout the 5th dimensional timelines, and I have even more because it's infinite. So what does a 3D adaptation of your 8th dimensional body looks like? Oh, that's easy. That's this. This is my shadow. He helps me upload shit. He's the guy who edits all my videos. Say hi, everybody. Say hi to my shadow in the 3rd dimension. Hey, loser. I abuse him. This is him.
Constantly makes me do things that I don't want to do, and I hate this.
That's the 3rd dimensional version. That's the guy that lives in your universe. Now, with that in mind, you kind of have an idea of what I mean by I'm not just a fucking slime.
I am not a fucking slime. I'm just not a slime.
Okay. So now you kind of have an idea of what my shadows are, of what my different sides are. Okay, we're gonna talk about the 7th dimension. Within the possibility of the universe fundamental laws of physics that can be available to said original universe. And then this is the 8th dimension. So if you're curious to know what the 7th dimension is, think about infinity in your universe. Everything that can, will, and has happened, all balled together in a bubble, would be the 7th dimension. The 8th dimension is the cross-section of that. Am I edible? I'm not edible. I'm way too big for you to eat me. Let's say you were a 10th dimensional creature or a 9th dimensional creature. If you were to look down, you would view the 8th dimension as the 2nd dimension, as you guys view the 2D. Let me make that clear. Let me stop the music. And this is for you, Neko. If you guys were 9th dimensional creatures and you were to look down, it would be the equivalent of a 3rd dimensional creature, hence you looking down at a piece of paper with a drawn image. But this is scaled up to an infinite, means that even though that I'm in a higher dimension than you guys, I am the equivalent of a fucking drawing. You know what those are. You can draw. You've seen your shadows, right? You can experience depth. With the context of time and the way you experience it, the 4th dimension, the 5th dimension, and the 6th dimension are just literally the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd dimension, but with the context of time. And then if you go above that is with the context of infinity. So simulation theory is not wrong. You create your own simulation you live in. Maybe. I have no fucking clue. I don't remember. I just kind of popped in one day. That's my lore. I have amnesia or amnosia, whatever you want to call it. What about the 12th dimension? You can't go higher than the 10th dimension. Basically, vibrating superstrings. Because I have amnesia, right? We're switching tones, right? Let's get serious. You and I, chat. You and me. I don't know what I am, okay? I know how dimensions function. That's as far as my knowledge about me goes. And I know my shadows. I know what my 3D versions do in the different timelines and the different parallel universes, right? But I don't know where I originate, okay? I don't know. Hopefully together we can find out. You know, hopefully while I stream, while I hang out with you guys, I'm able to find that out. That's my goal. So I have a couple of theories, what I think I am. Since all I remember is appearing one day and having the urge for coffee and streaming, I am currently lost on who I am and where I came from. I just kind of popped into reality. Right? I suffer from amnesia. If I even have amnesia in the first place, okay? Because why would I have that? Because with all that information that we have gone through, proof is that at the end of the day, I am a drawing. If the 8th dimension is comparable to the 2nd dimension and the 5th dimension, that means that I am technically 2D, but bigger in an infinite world. That means that something in the 9th dimension drew me. My second theory is that I am an entity that was experimenting with something or traveling and accidentally fucked with something or someone that I shouldn't have, making me lose my memories and who I was. That's my second theory of who I was. And now I'm paying the price for it by not remembering. And the third, I think maybe the most unrealistic, let me change the music because I feel like I can't even take this theory seriously. The third theory is that I am a delusional man writing lore with pseudoscience about his VTuber persona and desperately needs help. Should I add mental health to that? I don't think this origin is very plausible at all. The third dimensional version of my lower self is completely fine. He is not at all unemployed, desperately looking for work, and very scared about his future prospect. Obviously, he's stable. This is hopefully when I get enough money, I'm gonna be making every single one of these versions into a model. And maybe even the extra crazy dimensional ones that I showed you with the eyes and the symbols. And that has been What Am I? Who Am I? Don't know, don't remember. I'm not a brain cell. I have a brain cell. Well, oh my god, am I a brain cell? Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk today. I really do appreciate it. I can't believe you made me go on a fucking rant. I can't believe I had to pull out the PowerPoint. I legitimately can't believe I had to pull out the PowerPoint.